I told my ex-wife to dress up for a makeup dinner. She walked in smiling, then saw my brother, her parents, my friends. I played the audio of her and our neighbor in bed. Her mom gasped. My ex burst into tears. I sipped my drink. I was bone-tired when I pulled into the parking lot of our apartment complex. The kind of tired that sinks into your bones and makes your eyelids heavy even after a full night's sleep. It had been almost 3 weeks of straight double shifts. Between working at the warehouse during the day and bartending at night, I hadn't seen much of my own home. But it was our anniversary, and I finally managed to get off work early. I picked up dinner from Maya's favorite Italian place. They even tied the handles of the takeout bag with a gold ribbon like I asked. I couldn't wait to see the look on her face. As I climbed the stairs to our third-floor unit, I heard voices drifting from the open window. Maya's voice sharp, sarcastic. The other was Ben, the guy from across the hall who always wore sandals, even in winter. I slowed my steps. She doesn't even realize how much easier life is now, Maya was saying, her voice low but cruel. I don't have to fake it anymore. I used to feel bad, but honestly, I'm relieved. Ben chuckled. You think he suspects anything? Jason, she scoffed. Please. He's working 70 hours a week just to afford this dump. He's too exhausted to notice anything. I could tattoo Ben's girl on my forehead and he'd still ask if I need him to pick up groceries. My stomach dropped. I froze outside the door. Ben said something I didn't catch, and then Maya's voice again, clearer this time. It's already happening. We've been sleeping together for months. I'm just waiting for the right moment to tell him. I couldn't breathe. My hand tightened around the takeout bag until the plastic started to tear. I stared at the door like it might change the words I just heard. But it didn't. The voices kept going casually like they were discussing the weather. I set the bag down gently, like if I moved too fast I'd shatter something. I turned around and walked back down the stairs, each step heavier than the last. My chest felt hollow, like someone had scooped out everything inside me. I got into my car, hands trembling. For a few minutes I just sat there, staring at the dashboard. 7 years. 7 years of building a life together, thinking we were on the same team. I gave her everything I had: time, money, love, loyalty, and she gave it to someone else. I started the car and drove. Nowhere in particular. Just away. Away from the apartment, away from the truth, away from the version of my life that had just shattered. The radio played, but I didn't hear it. I was too busy trying to figure out what the hell to do next. I crashed at my friend Caleb's place that night. He didn't ask any questions when I showed up at his door with a blank expression and nothing but my keys in my hand. Just let me in and gave me the guest room like he already knew something was wrong. I didn't sleep. I lay there staring at the ceiling, the same phrase looping in my head. She's already sleeping with Ben. It didn't feel real yet. Like I was waiting to wake up and realize I'd misheard, that maybe I was the one losing it. The next morning, my phone lit up with notifications. 6 missed calls. 11 texts. All from Maya. Maya, where are you? Maya, Jason, this isn't funny. We need to talk. Maya, why aren't you answering me? Maya, I came home and saw the dinner. What's going on? Maya, please just call me. I stared at the screen, then flipped the phone over, face down. I couldn't deal with her voice. Not yet. Caleb brought me coffee around 10, set it on the nightstand, and sat on the edge of the bed. You look like hell. I think my marriage is over, I said quietly, not looking at him. He didn't say anything at first, just nodded like he'd been expecting those words. You want to talk about it? Not really. I ran a hand down my face. She's been seeing someone. Our neighbor. Ben. Caleb muttered something under his breath and shook his head. That's cold, man. I heard her say it, I continued. He was there. They were laughing about it. Laughing. For a long time, we just sat there in silence. Later that day, when Caleb went to work, I opened my laptop and started digging. I had no plan, no roadmap, just raw instinct. Google search after Google search. How to file for divorce. How to separate assets in California. Adultery laws and marriage. And then I remembered what my brother Tyler had told me years ago, back when Maya and I were still dating. She's charming, but something about her feels off, Jay. Like she's always playing a game you're not invited to. I had brushed him off back then. Thought he was just being protective. But now? Now it felt like a warning I had ignored. I wasn't just heartbroken. I was angry. Angry at her. Angry at myself. And more than anything, I was scared. Scared of what came next. 2 days after I left the apartment, I walked into the bank with a knot in my stomach and a folder under my arm. It felt surreal being there, like I was preparing for a breakup I hadn't even told Maya about yet. But I knew one thing. If I didn't act fast, she'd take everything we built and leave me picking up the pieces. The woman at the front desk smiled and asked how she could help. I told her I needed to speak with someone about separating joint accounts. Her smile faded just slightly, but she nodded and led me to an office in the back. The banker was a guy named Greg, mid-40s, polite, too cheerful for the conversation we were about to have. He shook my hand and asked how my day was going. I gave him a tired half-smile. Honestly, not great. I think my wife's cheating on me. I need to move our savings into a separate account. He blinked, the smile slipping away completely. I see. Well, I'm really sorry to hear that. I handed him the folder I brought, printouts of our joint balances, credit cards, and a few bills Maya usually handled. I want to move my half into a new personal account, and I'd like to freeze the shared credit cards. Greg scanned the documents and nodded slowly. You'll need to sign a few forms, but yes, we can make that happen. As we went through the paperwork, I couldn't stop thinking about all the times Maya and I had talked about our future, buying a house, maybe starting a family. And here I was, splitting bank accounts like we were business partners dissolving a company. It made my chest ache. When everything was done, Greg stood up and shook my hand again. I hope things get better for you, Jason. Really? I nodded, but I didn't say anything. Back at Caleb's place, I muted Maya's number and turned off my notifications. I changed the passwords to my bank logins, email, even Netflix. It wasn't about being petty, it was about control. I needed to draw a line, even if she didn't know it yet. The man she cheated on? That man was done playing the fool. I met with the lawyer the following week. Her name was Diane Bell, and she came highly recommended by a guy I worked with at the warehouse who went through a brutal divorce last year. She was sharp, straight-talking, and didn't sugarcoat anything, which was exactly what I needed. Her office was tucked into a converted house on the edge of downtown. Nothing fancy, just clean and quiet. She shook my hand firmly, motioned for me to sit, and got right to the point. So, she said, flipping open her notepad. Tell me what's going on. I gave her the short version. Came home early on my anniversary. Overheard Maya with our neighbor Ben. Realized the affair had been going on for months. No confrontation. Just silence. I told her I'd already separated our bank accounts and frozen the joint credit cards. Diane didn't flinch. She just nodded like she'd heard it all before. Did you record the conversation? She asked. No, I said, rubbing my hands together. I was too stunned. I didn't even go inside. She gave me a look. Not judgmental, just assessing. That's okay. But from this point forward, you document everything. Every text, every call, every expense. Keep a timeline. Courts love timelines. I nodded slowly, taking mental notes. California's a no-fault divorce state, she continued. But if you can prove infidelity, it could impact things like alimony or who gets to keep certain assets. Do you own property together? No, just the apartment. We rent. That simplifies things. Any kids? No. Good. This'll move faster. For the first time in days, I felt like I could breathe. Diane handed me a list of steps. Log your financial activity, avoid big purchases, don't move out until we file officially, and whatever I do, don't go back to the apartment and explode. Keep your emotions in check, she said firmly. The moment you look unstable, they'll use it against you. I nodded. What about Ben? Can I go after him for anything? She smirked. Only in your imagination. But trust me, the consequences will come. They always do. I left her office with a folder full of paperwork and a head full of plans. Maya kept calling, but I didn't pick up. I'd blocked Ben's number entirely. It wasn't about revenge anymore. It was about being smart, protecting myself, and finally seeing the truth for what it was. The man who used to make excuses for her, he was gone. I was in control now. The first person I told was my older brother, Tyler. We were sitting on the patio of a bar in Glendale, nursing beers in the kind of silence that only brothers know how to keep. I hadn't seen him since before the anniversary, and he didn't ask questions at first. He just waited. She cheated, I said finally. With Ben. Tyler didn't react right away. Just leaned back in his chair, eyes scanning the parking lot like he was deciding whether to punch someone or laugh. Told you something was off about her, he said quietly. I nodded. I should have listened. After that, word started to spread on its own. I told Caleb. He told his girlfriend, who worked with a woman that followed Maya on Instagram. Then a mutual friend reached out after seeing Maya post a picture with Ben captioned starting fresh. No mention of me. No mention of our 7-year marriage. People started putting the pieces together. And once they did, the shift was fast. I didn't have to bash her. I didn't have to go online and air every detail. I just answered honestly when people asked why I moved out. When they pushed, I'd say, let's just say Maya found something better across the hall. That was enough. Her business started taking the hit first. Maya did freelance interior design, mostly home staging for realtors and small-time developers. She relied a lot on referrals, friends, social circles, repeat clients. When people found out what she did to me, those jobs dried up quick. One of the realtors I knew personally texted me, didn't realize what was going on. I just told her I'd be going in a different direction. A week later, someone else canceled a project with her. Then 2 more after that. Her Instagram comments went quiet. The fake motivational quote stopped. No more empowered woman hashtags, no more boomerangs of her clinking wine glasses with Ben. The only thing that showed up was a photo of her dog and a caption about clearing toxic energy. I didn't reply. I didn't gloat. But yeah, I watched it unfold. And I'd be lying if I said it didn't feel good. Ben started to fade out, too. Word was, he got cold feet. Once he realized Maya wasn't just a secret on the side but a full-on storm of drama, he started pulling away. I even saw him one morning avoiding eye contact as he walked out of the building. Good. Let him sit with that. As for me, I kept my head down. Went to work. Ate dinner with Tyler more often. Focused on healing, not on revenge. Let the truth do the work. Maya always cared about appearances. Now she could watch hers crumble. I didn't go looking for Ben. But 2 weeks after the lawyer meeting, I walked into the hardware store to grab some caulk and light bulbs, and there he was behind the counter, checking stock on a dusty tablet, wearing that same smug face I used to see in the hallway. The one I used to nod at politely while having no clue he was sleeping with my wife. He looked up, did a double take, and froze. I walked right up to the counter, calm, steady. My heart was pounding, but my face didn't show it. Hey, Ben. He swallowed. Hey, Jason. I let the silence stretch a beat too long. Then I set the box of bulbs down and looked him dead in the eye. I know about you and Maya. I've known since our anniversary. His eyes flicked away, then back. Look, man, it's not. Save it, I said, holding up a hand. I'm not here for an explanation. I just wanted to let you know I'm filing for divorce. And Maya's adultery is going on record. He blinked. His mouth opened like he was about to argue, but nothing came out. Jesus, he muttered finally. She said you guys were basically done. I almost laughed. That's what cheaters always say, right? Gotta justify it somehow. He looked like he'd been slapped. I didn't mean for it to happen like this, man. Doesn't really matter what you meant, I replied. It happened. Now you get to live with it. I turned to leave but paused at the door. One more thing, I said over my shoulder. If you think she won't do the same thing to you that she did to me, just give it time. He didn't say a word. Later that week, Tyler texted me. Guess who's not posting pics with Ben anymore? I smiled. A few more days passed, and I heard through a mutual friend that Ben had started backing away. Said things were getting too intense. Said he wasn't ready for all this. Of course he wasn't. He wanted the thrill, not the wreckage. I didn't have to lift a finger. The mess they made? It was finally catching up to both of them. And honestly, watching it all unravel in real time, that was better than any revenge I could have planned. Maya thought we were getting back together. That was the only explanation for the way she practically sang through the phone when I finally picked up after weeks of ignoring her. Jason, she breathed, like I was some long-lost lover instead of the husband she cheated on. I'm so glad you called. Can we talk? I miss you. I was thinking dinner, I said, keeping my voice calm. Just us. Talk it all out. She agreed without hesitation. But it wasn't just us. I reserved a private room at Franklin's Bistro, fancy place, white tablecloths, wine poured by the ounce. I told Maya to dress up. I told her I missed her, too. I lied. It felt easy, natural, like slipping into a jacket you forgot you owned. When she walked in, she looked like she was ready for a second chance, curled hair, polished smile, red dress I'd bought her 2 birthdays ago. But her face faltered when she saw the table. My brother Tyler. My mom and stepdad. Her parents. A few of our mutual friends. Even her old college roommate, Denise, who always saw through Maya's crap. What is this? She asked, the smile cracking. A dinner, I said, standing up. Anniversary May-up dinner. Like you said, we need to talk. Everyone was already seated. Drinks were being poured. Maya hesitated, but she sat. She started with a speech. Of course she did. I know I made mistakes, she said, tears already forming. But I was lonely, and Jason was never home, and Ben was just, he was there. It was a terrible decision. One I regret every single day. She sniffled. Her voice trembled. Cue the show. When she finished, she looked at me like she expected me to say, I forgive you. Instead, I pulled out the flash drive and passed it to Tyler, who plugged it into the monitor I'd requested for the slideshow. Photos appeared first, screenshots of text between her and Ben. Her laughing about me. Her mocking my schedule. One text that just said, can't wait until I don't have to pretend anymore. Then the receipts, joint account charges from stores Ben liked. Hotel bookings when I was supposed to be working overnight. One labeled spa day that coincided with a deposit into her personal Venmo. Then the audio. I had recorded our hallway conversation that night. The one I wasn't supposed to hear. Ben, he really doesn't suspect anything? Maya, please. Jason's too busy working 2 jobs to notice I've already moved on. The room went still. Her dad looked like someone had punched him in the chest. Her mom gasped audibly. Denise's mouth was hanging open. Maya stammered. That's private. You invaded my... No, I said, voice even. I exposed the truth. I reached into my coat and dropped the final blow on the table, a folder. I already filed for divorce, and I'll be submitting everything you saw tonight to the court. Maya burst into tears. Real ones, this time. But I didn't feel sorry. Not even a little. I just leaned back in my chair and sipped my drink. Justice, served cold. A month after the reckoning dinner, I signed a lease on a one-bedroom apartment in Burbank. Nothing fancy, but it had sunlight in the mornings, a view of the street below, and silence. Beautiful, unbothered silence. I started rebuilding my life piece by piece. I quit the bar job. The warehouse gig paid enough on its own, and for the first time in years, I had evenings to myself. I filled them with things I had forgotten I enjoyed. Long walks, greasy diner food, late-night movies with no one interrupting me to ask why I worked so much. Caleb helped me paint the walls. Tyler brought over a futon and a mini fridge stocked with beer. It wasn't much, but it was mine. Maya, meanwhile, was spiraling. I didn't keep tabs on her on purpose, but the updates found me anyway. Denise mentioned that most of Maya's clients had stopped returning her calls. One realtor straight up told her she was bad for business. Her Instagram went dark, then reappeared with cryptic quotes about healing and rebirth. Then disappeared again. Then was gone. Packed up and moved out 3 weeks after the dinner. Word was, he ghosted her completely. Didn't even leave a note. Her parents called me once, just once, to say they were sorry for how things turned out, and still considered me family. I thanked them, but made it clear I wasn't interested in staying connected. Not through them. Not through her. I spent more time with people who gave a damn. Caleb, my mom, even Quinn, a friend from work who started bringing me lunch just because she didn't like the idea of me eating vending machine crap. At first, I wasn't sure what to do with that kindness. I'd been so used to giving and getting nothing in return that I flinched when someone offered me something without strings. But Quinn never pushed. Just showed up with a sandwich and a crooked smile and said, "You look like you forgot to eat again." She wasn't wrong. Some nights, I'd still wake up and feel the weight of it all, the betrayal, the silence, the hollow in my chest. Losing a marriage, even a broken one, still felt like a death. But each day the grief dulled a little more. I looked around my apartment one evening, still half-furnished, still cluttered, and felt something I hadn't felt in months. Not happiness, exactly, but peace. And that was a damn good start. 6 months later, I barely recognized the guy I used to be. The divorce was finalized in April. Clean cut. No alimony. Diane, my lawyer, called it the cleanest dirty split sheet seen in a while. I kept my savings, my credit untouched. Maya didn't fight. She couldn't. The evidence was airtight, and she knew it. By then, I'd settled into my new rhythm. Early mornings, coffee from the place down the street, and quiet evenings working on a fixer-upper project Tyler and I started on weekends. Something about sanding old wood and putting it back together felt good. Like reverse therapy. Work was steady, and I even got a promotion, floor manager. Fewer hours, better pay, more time for myself. Caleb threw me a little celebration at his place. Nothing crazy. Just beers and ribs and laughter that didn't feel forced. Quinn and I stayed close. Closer than I expected. Somewhere between all the shared lunches and sarcastic texts, she started showing up just to hang out. No agenda. No pressure. One night she leaned over and said, "You're starting to look like someone who actually sleeps." That made me laugh harder than I'd laughed in a long time. Then, last week, I ran into Maya. I was picking up some groceries. Eggs, toothpaste, frozen pizza, and she was just there, in the bread aisle. Her hair was tied back, makeup faded, and for the first time, she looked small. Not fragile, just real. We both froze. She gave me a nervous smile. "Hi," she said, barely above a whisper. "Hey," I replied. An awkward pause stretched between us like a tightrope. "How've you been?" she asked. "Good," I said. And I meant it. She nodded. "You look different." I didn't answer that. Just smiled a little and started to walk past. But before I reached the end of the aisle, I stopped. "I hope you're doing okay, Maya." She looked at me like she didn't know what to say. And maybe she didn't. But she nodded once, quietly. "You too." That was it. No apologies. No explanations. Just a few words, 6 months late, floating in the fluorescent light of a supermarket. Later that night, I sat on my couch, eating the pizza I bought and watching the city lights through the window. I thought about everything I'd been through. The lies, the pain, the unraveling of something I thought would last forever. And I realized something. Revenge felt good. But healing? Healing felt better. I finally knew my worth. And I wasn't wasting it on anyone who didn't.